Welcome from Munich, where we have the Samsung Galaxy Xcover 3. Now, for $200 you get a really amazing smartphone if you ask me, when it comes to that it's waterproof, the hardware is decent, and the price is perfectly also decent, and it's also called the G388F here. For 4.5 inches you get a waterproof device that's waterproof up to 1 meter for 30 centimeters, as you will see. And at the end of this video also, it's rugged after military standard, the 810G, against salt, dust, humidity, rain, vibration, solar radiation, transport, and thermal shock. So you can drop it from about 3 to 4 feet. It doesn't matter where it hits the ground. It shouldn't break. You can even drive over it with a hammer. I tried that. It works only when you drive over it with the first wheel. Otherwise it will break or crack the screen. But otherwise, it is quite a nice rugged phone for not too much of a price, which is really awesome, especially since the micro USB is open. The microphone is also right here. Then we have volume rockers, dedicated button for example, opening up the flashlight. So if your device is unlocked, you can just hit the button here, and then you have your Xcover button for starting the flashlight. You have a little place here to put your strap around your hand, for example. Headset port also completely open, even though it's waterproof. The on-off switch, and then we are back on the bottom. On the front, not only the home switch, home button, but also the back and the last apps button is visible here. And not only visible, it's the same as with the active Samsung Galaxy S series and the last Xcover series, so that's quite nice. 2 megapixel camera on the front, 5 megapixel camera on the back with a flash. Internally we have 1.5 gig of RAM and also a micro SD card slot, so you can expand actually the 8 gigs of internal memory, from which are only 4 available to you anyhow. So you have here your micro SD slot and the SIM card reader, which is a micro SIM, not nano SIM. Watch out for that. It's a micro SIM. And then here the 2200 milliamp battery that you can of course take out. I have a little sticker on it, and you can also see here the rubber coating around the back. So it's actually waterproof if you put on the back completely nicely like this. You hear it click everywhere, and you see also no gaps at all, and then it will be waterproof. Otherwise you could get water damage, and then of course the warranty is also not helping you at all. So definitely make sure that it's always sealed completely and nicely everywhere to use here your beautiful Xcover 3 for gaming, shooting underwater videos, and so on. So 720p videos are also possible. Otherwise we have a Marvel processor inside, which is a quad-core PXA 1908 is the name, 1.2 GHz times 4. And also for the GPU we have the Vivante GC7000. Actually all of that you can see here when we go to Antutu to show you guys a little bit the benchmarks, which are of course not the best, but it's one of the cheapest rugged outdoor smartphones here. But also on 4.5 inches, the resolution of only 480 x 800 is not that high. So here's the test result. In ranking, it wasn't the best. It was below the Zenfone 5, not much, but a little bit. So that has also the same price, or had the same price a year ago. So could be a little bit better with the Samsung, but it's not. And if we go here into info, you can also see here all the way on top that we have the Android 444 right now. No Lollipop yet. Here's the Marvel processor, the 5 megapixel camera I was telling you about. Also again available, only 4 gigs are available. The Marvel processor again here, how fast and slow it can go. AMOLED display, and so on, and so you can read everything in the specs of Antutu always quite nicely. And so on. Of course, it has also an FM radio, NFC, Bluetooth 4.0, Wi-Fi, BGN, no AC or anything else built in. But let's switch from the hardware to a little bit of gaming, for example, here with Relic Run by Tomb Raider, one of my favorite benchmarks right now, which means that it has to load. Loading actually is quite quickly happening. I usually compare that with other phones, which is also quite nice. But let's just see what happens. And then after, we can also show you a little bit the camera on the front and the back, and the browsing experience also. And at the end, we will take it into the water and show you that you can really just drop it or use it in the water. So let's get some coins here. More on the left, where can see here a lot of things happening on the screen smoothly, looking good, and I try to do also my best here when it comes to the game experience, but not so easy to switch here all the time, and sometimes you just run against the wall. But it's okay, because we continue here with something else like the camera, where you can see the selfie camera 2 megapixel. It's looking okay if I don't move my head, but once I start moving, you can see it's washing away, and if I move the camera here, it's also quite slow, and selfies could be just a little bit better, but of course, this is not a premium smartphone, so it's alright. If I check out the back camera, you can see that I could take a picture of the box, which is not that far away, but still about 15 centimeters, and the box doesn't fit completely in the picture. But I actually have here some pictures that are looking also quite good that were shot. You can see that here, S6 Edge, for example, had that a few days ago, and also I was up on the mountain and I was shooting here, nice little panorama here in Bavaria at the Spitzingsee at the Alps, looking really amazing here up on top of the world as usual when it comes to just getting up on top. Check out the full resolution on that on my other YouTube channel, on my German YouTube channel. Just look for Xcover 3 camera test, and I also did an underwater test, so if you're interested in how the camera acts underwater, here you can also see it's of course working underwater, no problem at all. The Samsung Galaxy Xcover 3 with a lot of action here going on at the pool in Munich. So, of course, one more thing, let's check a little bit the browsing, and then you can see here that we can just open up the New York Times, for example, which is already open, browse around here, no problem at all here in Wi-Fi. Now, zooming is a little bit hard because it's not allowed on this website, but for example, when it comes to the keyboard, you can also see this is also working quite smoothly here. I can type hello, how are you, or anything like that, but of course we are not in the chat field, but it's working quite okay, and if it's not, you can just here select anything that you might think you wanted to have said. Also, let me go back here to open up another tab, which is loading then again, of course, over Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi antenna is actually quite good, sometimes even better than on my premium other smartphones. You can see actually when I go a little bit closer here how good the fonts look and just how nice this little phone is, which we'll take now into the water for 330 bucks. You will see it will not break, military standard and everything. Thank you much for tuning in. Please don't forget to check out the Amazon link on the bottom if you are more interested. And now let's go to that mountain lake that you have seen in the video, and let's throw it into the water and see if it's still working. So we'll try out now the Samsung Galaxy Xcover 3 also underwater, and also that you can just drop it on the floor from around 1.5 meters, since it's also military grade proof. And yeah, it's still working. You can see it here on the display. We have a running Android here, and you could now open up the camera also and just start shooting a video underwater also in HD quality. And for $200 device is not bad, because all the ports are open and it will still work after we drop it in the water. You just have to make sure that you have the complete back cover sealed, so no water is going inside the device. So we have here a working smartphone that you can just really here drop into the water, and nothing will really much happen except for it gets a little bit wet, and once it's not wet anymore, you can really also use it again here on the screen, or just with the buttons that you have here on the bottom. It's of course still working then also. So this was the Xcover 3, a short water test, and let's continue with the